All right, let's get right into it. We're going to be looking at this ancient letter from the 1st century, and it's short, just 6 chapters. But believe me, it is one of the most explosive, world-changing documents ever written. Welcome to our explainer on the Epistle to the Galatians.
And this quote, man, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? This isn't some gentle, dusty theological treatise. It's a live coal. I mean, when you read it, you can feel the heat, the raw emotion, and just this sheer urgency that forced its author, the Apostle Paul, to grab a pen and start writing.
So that's the big question we're trying to answer here. Why? What on earth could provoke such a furious, passionate, almost off-the-rails response? To get that, we've got to understand the crisis that was happening.
Yeah, Paul doesn't ease into it at all. There's no, hey, hope you're doing well. Nope. He opens his letter with an absolute thunderclap, saying he is completely shocked that the very people he'd taught were already walking away from the core of their new faith.
So let's just get our bearings for a second. The folks getting this letter lived right here, in the Roman province of Galatia, that's in modern-day Turkey. See, Paul had personally traveled through these cities not long before this. He'd started brand new Christian communities. I mean, you could say these were his spiritual children, and he was writing to them now because it was a full-blown emergency.
And to say this letter has a strong tone, well, that's the understatement of the century. Paul says he's astonished. One scholar even says he's gobsmacked. You have to understand, he's not just correcting some minor mistake here, he's sounding a 5-alarm fire. In his mind, these communities are on the very brink of spiritual suicide, and he's using every ounce of passion, and yeah, even some pretty biting sarcasm, to try and wake them up.
So what was this fire he was so desperately trying to put out? Well, it was nothing less than the gospel itself being attacked. See, after Paul left, this other group of teachers showed up with a very different message, one that threatened to completely unravel everything he had built. And the problem, if you boil it all down to one word, was legalism. These new teachers, who we often call Judaizers, were pushing a religious system that basically tried to mash Christianity together with the old laws of Moses. Their argument was something like, hey, putting your faith in Jesus, that's a great start, but it's not the whole story.
And this is where the conflict becomes crystal clear. On one side, you've got Paul's gospel of grace. The message is simple. Salvation is a totally free gift. You receive it only through faith in what Christ has done, period. But on the other side, you've got this different gospel. It's a faith plus system. It's faith plus you have to be circumcised. Faith plus you have to follow the dietary laws. You see, this wasn't some minor tweak. It was a fundamental change to the entire engine of Christianity.
Okay, so to tear down this false gospel, Paul knew he had to deal with the personal attacks first. The Judaizers were trying to undermine his message by undermining the messenger, right? They were claiming he was some self-appointed second-rate apostle. So Paul's first move is to reestablish his credentials, not for his own ego, but to defend the divine source of his message.
And he just lays it all out. He makes it absolutely clear that his authority isn't secondhand. He says, my commission came directly from God and Jesus Christ, not from any human committee. His gospel? He says he received it through a divine revelation. It wasn't something he learned in a class from the other apostles. And hey, when he did finally meet up with the leaders in Jerusalem, they totally recognized and affirmed where his message came from. His authority was so solid he even called out the Apostle Peter in public for compromising this very truth.
And this quote right here, it just brilliantly sums up his entire motivation. He's basically telling them, look, if my goal was just to be popular and make you all happy, do you really think I'd be writing such a harsh letter? No way. My bluntness, my anger, that's the proof that I answer to God, not to you or anyone else.
So with his authority now firmly reestablished, Paul pivots to the absolute heart of the matter. He lays out 2 completely different, totally mutually exclusive ways of relating to God.
The first system, the system of the law, well, it's all about performance. Its essential command is simple. Do. Obey these commands, follow these rules, achieve this standard. It's on you.
But then you have the system of grace, which is the complete opposite. It's not about what you must do, it's about what Christ has already done. Its declaration is just as simple. It is done. Finished.
And this chart really just lays out the stark contrast. On one side, you have the law, which ends up condemning people and putting them in bondage to performance. But on the other, you have grace, which redeems, which blesses, and which sets people absolutely free. You can just see they are fundamentally incompatible systems. You have to choose one.
And this is why this short, angry little letter has had such a massive, world-altering impact on history. Its passionate defense of grace against legalism is why it's been called the Magna Carta of Christian liberty.
Now, think about this for a second, because it's a powerful thought. Without Paul's fierce defense of the gospel of grace, Christianity might have just fizzled out as one more small Jewish sect. It would have required all its converts to follow the entire Mosaic law. Galatians is the letter that blew the doors wide open for the entire world.
And its influence didn't stop there, not by a long shot. Fast forward 1,500 years, and this letter gets rediscovered by a monk named Martin Luther. And its explosive message, the idea that a person is made right with God by faith alone, not by works, well, that became the central cry, the manifesto of the Protestant Reformation, which literally reshaped the Western world.
And the incredible power of this letter lies in its really clear, logical structure. You can see it laid out here. It's basically built in three parts. First, he has this defense, right, where Paul establishes his personal authority. Then comes the doctrine, where he unpacks the theology of being free from the law. And finally, he wraps it all up with the application, showing what this freedom actually looks like in real everyday life. It is an absolute masterclass in passionate, reasoned argument.
So at the end of the day, Galatians is this incredible declaration of freedom. But it leaves us with a really profound question, one we still need to ask ourselves. If this freedom isn't about following a bunch of rules, then what is it for? And Paul's answer is revolutionary. He says we are set free not to just do whatever we want, but to love and to serve one another. And that's an idea of freedom that is still absolutely worth wrestling with today.